All right, guys, number 7 says, given r of x, find the value of r of 2. What does your answer tell you about x minus 2 as a factor of r of x? So they want me to take out all the x's and put in 2's. And when I do that and I type it all in my calculator, just like I wrote it, I end up hitting enter and getting -6 for all of that. And so we're going to say, what does your answer tell you about x minus 2 as a factor? So I'm going to say x minus 2 is not a factor because r of 2 doesn't equal 0. Okay. And I think that's all I have to answer. Okay. I'm just going to add to this one a little bit. I'm just going to say if r of 2 equals 0, okay, 2 would have been a 0, and x minus 2 would have been a factor. All right, but -6 is our remainder. Okay. All right, number 8 says, which binomial is not a factor of that expression? All right, so we could do this a couple ways. We could go the long way, and we could go ahead and plug all these in. We could say x equals -2, x equals -4, x equals +6, and x equals 7, and plug them all in and see which one has a remainder. Or, since this is multiple choice, if I grab my calculator and I type this equation in to my y equals and I graph it, I get something that looks like this. And I can go ahead and look on my screen and see that this crosses at -2, this crosses at 6, and this crosses at 7. Therefore, that is a root. Therefore, this is a factor. This is a root, so this is a factor. This is a root, so this is a factor. And right there, we don't have it crossing at x equals -4, so that's not one of the zeros. Therefore, x plus 4 is not one of my factors. Okay, it's even a shorter shortcut. All right, number 9. If p of x equals, what is the remainder of p of x divided by x minus 5? So because they only want the remainder, we could do the long division if you wanted to. But if this is a shortcut, because it's multiple choice, we're going to turn that into x equals 5. And then we're going to go ahead and plug in p of 5. And once I type all this in my calculator, what I get out is the remainder. So instead of long division, we'll make the calculator do most of the work. And this, when I hit enter, comes out to be 240. And that's the remainder I would have got after I long divided if I chose to go the long way. Okay. Number 10. It says, given p of x, which statement is true? Is true. Okay. So we could go ahead and substitute these in. Okay. You might be able to use your calculator if you wanted to, but let's go ahead and do the first one here. Well, hang on. I'm not even going to do this first one because this doesn't seem right. If x minus 1 is a factor, then x would equal +1, and I would plug +1 in. So this one doesn't seem right. X plus 1 is a factor because p of -1. Now, that one makes a little bit more sense because x would then equal -1, and you would be plugging in -1. This one makes more sense than number 1. In number 3, if that's x plus 1, then x would equal -1, and that's not what they're plugging in. So this one doesn't seem right either, like number 1. And the last one here, if x minus 1 is a factor, then x would equal +1. and plugging it in would give me 0. So I could either do choice 2 or choice 4. Those that make the most sense. I could also use my calculator and see if it crosses at 1 or -1. Okay. But let's go ahead and use we'll do it by hand. So I'm going to check choice 2 first. So if I plug in -1, and I type that all in and I hit enter, I get p of -1 equal to 2. And so in number 1, x plus 1 is a factor because p of -1 is I shouldn't even pick that choice. If it's going to be factor, then it should come out to equal 0. It does come out to equal 2, but that doesn't make it a factor. So choice 2 is gone. So actually, I should have gotten rid of both choice 1 and choice 2 based on what they say they're saying it is a factor, but it's not even equal to 0. So it's got to be 3 or 4, and we already eliminated 3. Okay. So we're going to hope that it's actually choice 4, but let's just double check it. They're saying if x minus 1 is a factor, then we know that x should equal 1. So we'll plug 1 in for p. And we're going to type that all in and see if this does come out to be 0. When I hit enter, it is, and so there it is. P of 1 equals 0, therefore x minus 1 is a factor. All right, guys, hopefully that is enough about the remainder theorem. We'll practice a little bit more later on.